Are you tired of clients quitting before they finish the program? Are you frustrated that clients aren't renewing or doing more programs with you? Well, this problem is not with the client, and the problem is probably not your program. But there are three things you can fix right away that will help you retain more clients, make them beg to stay, and increase lifetime client values. In the over 20 years that I've been working with coaching and training and consulting companies, there are some common threads I see with the phenomenon of clients wrapping up the program and then going elsewhere, or worse, stopping in the middle because they're frustrated or bored or feel unfulfilled. Three areas you need to look at so that you can put on your detective hat and start fixing these things little by little. This won't require big additions to your team, and you probably don't have to change your program, just a little bit of your process. So I will talk to you about the three most common places you can make changes, and we'll talk about why it works and how to do it a little better. I want to talk to you first about the fact that we, in our marketing or in our social media content or in our sales instrument, we focus a lot on the big promise, the end result, the payoff. And that's important. But we also need to make sure clients, prospects, understand the process. I think it was healthpreneur coach Yuri who said, sell the hard, not the easy. If you want more clients, you sell the easy. If you want better clients, sell the hard. And his point was, we spend so much time on the promise, the payoff, the good news, that we forget to explain the process, the timeline, the middle, the yuck. So let me back up and just give you a few points that we're going to talk about. We're going to talk about stuff that's necessary in your pre-sale. Then we're going to talk about things that are necessary during the sales journey, and then the onboarding. The three key things are during the pre-sale, the sales process, and the onboarding journey. And you may be hitting one of these, you may be missing it, but you need to be hitting them multiple times over and over again. In your pre-sales content, in your online marketing, in your social media posts, in your sequence, in your whatever you're doing for content on YouTube, you need to make sure that you are demonstrating and discussing the different timelines and different results that people are having. Don't just focus on Susie Speedy, who did this in 6 weeks, or Frank the Fabulous, who did this in 10 days. You also need to be discussing your client that was 7 months into the program, overwhelmed with life and small children at home, and still managed to pivot their message and equal their income. You need to be talking about the slow burners, the long burners. You also need to be talking about the clients that have been with you 3, 4, or 5 years. Someone that does this really masterfully, in my opinion, is Dan Sullivan with Strategic Coach. From the very beginning, or reading his books, or the beginning of any of his messaging, you hear about his long timers. You hear about people that have been on the slow burn for a really long time. Why is that? Because he would prefer long client retention to people that are Zooming, Zoommakers, right? He wants to talk to you about, when you sign on with me, it's going to be for 3 to 5 years. That's the expectation. Does he say that overtly? Not right away, but he does let it seep in and let it become the norm that you're hearing about people that have been with him a really long time. And so in your marketing messages, make sure you're focusing on some of your client results or your own results where you said, you know what? It took me 3 years of hearing that same message over and over before I got that. Or this client that's been with me 10 years just did a powerful pivot and finds herself starting over. Or this client found themselves a little behind or felt like they were behind, and they just dug in as a new client and did it anyway. And now this has happened. Make it okay to stay. Show them people that are staying. Show them people that are succeeding, yes, but also slow burning and or struggling. It's okay to show some struggle. I think also we tend to focus on the fast path, or within 6 weeks, you'll get your ROI, or within 10 days, you'll see this happen. And then what happens is, number one, you won't sell some people because they will disqualify them as not that person, or you will have them come in with unrealistic expectations and they give up either on you or themselves when it doesn't happen that quickly. So you might start using language like, our clients on average can expect this at 6 weeks. Some of our faster movers have done this. Some of our more steady have done this. But on average, you can expect this. A 6 to 8 month client says this. Like, start quoting them that way. Start putting that in your captions. There's no shame in the slow and steady. There's no shame in the rabbit versus the hare. Some people recognize that about themselves, and they need to know that's okay for them to be in a place where not everybody is a blue ribbon earner. It's okay. So you start painting the clients can expect this in year 1. Clients can expect this in our years 2 to 3 of working together. Talking More with $1 Million Coach says this, and I'm not sure if he got it from someone else, but I do love this. He said, people quit you and themselves. They quit when they don't see a path forward. There's the cliche in the rom-coms or the romantic novels about, hey, let's talk about where this relationship is going. People need to know what's next. And so you need to be doing that in the pre-sale, in the marketing materials. Similarly, once you're in your sales conversion, once you're in the webinar, the sales page, the masterclass, the summit, whatever that conversion mechanism is that you're using to move people to the yes, you've already nurtured them. They've already seen people that have been with you a short time as well as a long time. Now you're in your conversion instrument. You need to do the same thing. You need to have case studies or screenshots or scripts with people that have been with you a long time, that have been slower starters, that have been multiple starts, that have had less than ideal results maybe the first time and then rallied, and also your speedies. Don't just focus on the speedy or the flashy. That will not retain clients that need to work on their growth mindset. Carol Dweck in her mindset book talks about growth mindset versus fixed mindset. Fixed mindset says, oh, I'm not good at that. This isn't for me. I can't do that. Those are the people that are going to quit early on you unless you keep demonstrating to them a growth mindset and a case study, or even your own self of, listen, you guys, this took me a really long time to figure out, and that's okay. Or this client came back 3 times in order to do this, and that's okay. You will also want to be saying that we work with clients who love fast results, but we also love working with people who slow and steady wins the race, and give different examples of how your group sessions or your one-to-one sessions or your program caters to both. You don't want people showing up in a group meeting or showing up in your community and feeling like they can't speak up because they are not one of the flashy, fast achievers. You don't want to only highlight those people because you are inadvertently shaming clients. You don't mean to. You're trying to give them something to aspire to, but inadvertently, you're kind of shaming people out. So that's in your sales conversations. You need to also be talking about different case studies and social proof and their path. Like, Susan, here's what we're thinking. When we work together the first year, it looks like this. And then you can expect during years 2 and 3 that we'll travel this path and achieve these things. Constantly paint and forecast the journey. Dan Sullivan does a great job at this. Talking More does a great job at this. You need to know that they are hearing that and that it's soaking in and that it's marinating, that they can't or don't expect that 6 to 8 weeks and we're one and done. I have been inside of and seen programs that constantly talk about the 12-month, 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 the program, the program, the program. And so sometimes when people get to the third or fourth month, they're bored, their endorphins are down, they don't feel celebrated, they don't feel seen, they don't feel successful. And so they're already counting down to when can I change programs? I just have to put in my time until November and then I can change programs. I'm done with this on. And your customer service team will start getting emails or messages that say, hey, what's my conclusion date? What's my conclusion date? That's a cry for help. That means there's something going on, that they don't have expectations, that they're not having results, that they're not engaged. And so don't just tell them the date, train your team. Don't just tell them the date. Say, actually, your first year ends here. And so let's jump on a call, or let's see what progress looks like right now. Let's see the state of the union and what's next for you. Don't just send them the date so that they can clock out. I've been that human that's clocked out multiple times. And I've had clients that clocked out and I've seen it over and over and over again. It's not the program and the 12 months, it's the process. And the more you can saturate them and drip those examples and the path and the permission to go at their own speed and that they're not behind and how to take action and have those wins, the better. Now, you've probably seen some of my other videos on how to have more engaging sessions or how to really have empathy at scale. And I do encourage you to watch those for sure, because that will help you see people, know people, feel people, and get them engaged. That is one of my superpowers and I love it. But I'm talking about the language of your program and the expectations as they come in. So we talked about the pre-marketing. We talked about the sales conversation. The other thing you need to do is during onboarding. This is a big, big mistake you may be making. And we see it over and over again. And I feel like it's pretty well known that you're making this mistake, but nobody takes the time to fix it. And that's the on-ramp. That's the onboarding. It's almost like the guy that gets the girl to say yes after weeks of asking, yes, 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 I'll go out with you. And then all of a sudden he steps back and he's like not making plans, or he's not as into her, or like the chase is done. Please don't be the one that's addicted to the chase. Please make sure that you nurture them as much in the onboarding as you do in the pre-boarding. Make sure as they come in, think like a flight attendant, right? As they come in, you welcome them, you make eye contact. And most importantly, you have to know that the first 48 to 72 hours, their primitive brain is trying to talk them out of doing this thing. They are in fight or flight mode. They are coming up with every reason why they shouldn't have spent, they shouldn't have signed, they shouldn't have committed. They're too busy, they're tired, and the voices around them will confirm it. So what you have to do is in your onboarding, you have to put several key ingredients in place to resell them, to reassure them, to reconvince them that they're in the right place at the right time. Now, there are several ingredients that you can use for that. I call it the rapid on-ramp, but I have learned a lot from the work of Joey Coleman in Never Lose a Customer. And he talks about the fact that we have to really affirm that they've made a good decision, send even more case studies, talk to them about the one really positive thing they can do. If you can get them into action right away, it will help them overcome that paralytic fear that they're feeling. So you want to affirm the kind of client they want to be. You want to let them know you see them, hear them, know them, value them. You also probably want to say, I am so excited about this journey that we're taking together over the next 1 to 5 years. I am excited that you made this decision for you, et cetera, et cetera. That's what you want to do. I need you not to neglect them in the on-ramp. I need you not to lump them into the masses. You've been wooing them and winning them, and now all of a sudden they're bleh. You've just plopped them in somewhere, and they don't feel seen, heard, validated, and they feel like that you've just taken them for the check, and that's not a great feeling. There are ways you can do this at scale. There are ways you can automate this or have a team do this. But what I want you to see is that in all those three stages, pre-sale, during the sales conversion, and during the on-ramp, you're assuring them, you're painting different paths to the same results, and you're letting them see and hear different people that have done it different ways. And you are acknowledging that it's okay if they're not the captain of the team. It's okay if they're a player and they go at their own speed. And you keep reinforcing that they're in the right place and on the right path and that you're with them. I think it's really fair during those processes to openly address the obstacles they are probably going to hit. I call this setting your goals like Tigger, but planning like Eeyore. I think it's really powerful and puts you in a great place of authority and mentorship when you say, listen, this is going to get hard before it gets easy. I know you're juggling another job or this or that. I know you have failed before, or you feel like programs have let you down. I think it's really powerful to not just say that one time during a spiel, but to send that out in an email sequence or in a video sequence and say, something you need to be aware of this first week is that you're probably going to have these negative voices from the people around you or people inside you, and address that. You could do another video or email and talk about, you're going to get overwhelmed with juggling your time and you're going to wonder if this is worth it. And the first time you have a big expense or something unexpected in your life, you're going to want to cut what's optional. And that's going to feel like it's your XYZ. So you need to call it out and let them know to expect it so that you can then plan a way around it with them, so that they're already thinking, oh, other people have had these obstacles. It's not just me. Or, oh, yeah, I need to know that if I run out of time, I can watch this shorter version or read the transcript or XYZ. So I think it's really fair to tell them it's going to get harder before they get the results that they want. It would be like a personal trainer at the gym that says, you're going to be sore tomorrow and you're probably going to be sore the day after that. And then when you come back, we're going to work out even though you're sore, because this is part of the process. We break down muscle in order to build up muscle, etc. I think it puts you in a great spot with them of trust and believability, instead of them assuming that nobody else is having obstacles and that nobody else is dealing with any struggle, that it's just them and that the program is the problem, or the program would alleviate the pain if they just cut themselves out of it. Now, let me give you that bonus one. During your program, let's assume you have really great pre-marketing, you have really great affirmative sales process, your on-ramp is dialed in and people really know. But during the program, they just kind of slip into this, oh, they're a customer, they're good, they're not a red light. They're just doing what they're doing, not having any problems, not having any complaints. Don't fall into that. Now, you probably want to watch the video that I have about connection being more important than transaction, because I believe that we have to help people feel seen, heard, and known and recognized. We also have to remind them of their progress. We have to remind them of their progress. What do I mean by that? Todd Herman calls this entrepreneurial amnesia. Like, they forget how far they've come. They forget the wins that you helped them with. They forget where they were before, and their brain does these crazy mental gymnastics about, like, yeah, I did that myself, or, oh, I was already set up for that anyway. And they forget the things that have happened. So this is why you and your team have to take notes of wins in their file. You have to celebrate those verbally. You have to be able to remind them of those, and you have to spotlight them, whether in a group meeting or in a video or in an email or whatever that is, so that when they get down in the dumps, or when they start to forget, or when they're seeing the gap versus the gain, like Dan Sullivan talks about, meaning maybe they've lost 72 pounds, but they missed their goal by 20 pounds. And all they can think of is, oh, I still have 25 pounds to go. They forget how it felt to be 75 pounds heavier. They forget what they look like. So the before and after picture, the before and after screenshot, the before and after, do you remember when you started, Fran? Do you remember how you were so despondent and you didn't think this would work and you didn't have anybody on your email list and nobody was buying your offer? Do you remember that first $10,000. Do you remember that client that said to you how you changed their life? That was such a great day. So I don't want you to deceive yourself and think, oh, nothing has happened. Oh, I've not made any progress. You need to remember this before picture. So this is why you and your team do need to document some of these things. You need to keep screenshots in a folder. You don't have to have a big complicated process for it, but you do need to be able to snap them out of that amnesia, remind them of their progress in the program, and help them get back on track with what they really want. Those four things will really help you retain people for extra time, additional years. It will help paint a path. It will help them be assured and feel like they can do it. And it's just little tweaks in each one of those four stages of your customer journey that will make the biggest difference in you keeping clients longer and to you having more confidence in your program and their results. Make sure you watch the video here about empathy at scale and connection being greater than transaction, because this is something you could actually turn over to your team and they could help you with that. We'll talk soon.